All right, welcome back. This is a video that I've been like so called to make because I feel like my experience is it's kind of like, if I could do it, anyone can do it, that old chestnut. But it's the truth. And for anybody who knew me as my version of myself before with money wounds versus who I am now, it's literally two different people. So if you see me glancing down, it's because I actually made notes for this one. Trying to be a little more organized. And just to make sure that I'm actually getting out everything that I feel was helpful for me on this journey. So I'll just start with my background of what I was raised in terms of money and the idea mentality towards money. So classic love tale between a trucker father and a mother who was working 3 waitress jobs. So I'm sure with just that little intro on its own, you can imagine what kind of environment I was growing up in, in terms of money relation. So both my parents, like many of our parents, just had, and still just have very deep money wounds, but it's more than that. It's self-worth wounds, I guess you could call it. And so when I was younger, obviously I never allowed myself to desire certain things. I was always told, you can't have that. People who desire those things, they're this kind of people. So if you want a fancy car, if you want to live in a big house, then you're bad, essentially, is what I was raised with, right? And I was just so unconscious to that and unaware that you can even have a relationship with money, that money is even energy, what money actually is, to use it as a tool, all these things, right? So all these things that I've learned and taught myself. But the other thing was, when I got together with my husband, we both, my husband and I both, I think, successfully healed our money wounds simultaneously, which is fun and exciting. And I'm so happy because I'll get into it. But so for him, it was because he's Dutch, the mentality behind that was always trying to find a deal, looking for the bargains. I'm not trying to stereotype, I'm just being honest. And this was the mentality that I was walking into relationship wise with a partner, having my background as what it was growing up. So when we were together, I always felt oh, I shouldn't want to go do this on a date, or I shouldn't want to wear makeup, or I shouldn't want to wear certain things, whatever. And it's not like he was stifling me in any way to make me not. It was just that mentality. I was telling myself not to desire these things. And so combining my background, this new Dutch mentality is what I called it, and just the way the world was at the time in 2020, it was before 2020, to be honest. It was my entire teenage life. Once I turned 19, went to university, decided I didn't want to do that anymore, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And having all that pressure growing up of having to go to university and having to have a good job and doing this, and my parents were trying to set me up financially. But what was missing really was the mentality behind how to make money, how to handle money, how to feel around money, how to use money in a productive way, I guess you could call it. So when I was 19, I had this dream of wanting to be living in a tiny house, living in the middle of nowhere, being away from everybody, everything, just a speck on this earth, less than that. This is what I just wanted. I just wanted to get away. I wanted to live sustainably. I wanted to be debt free. I wanted to be all these things, not realizing that in reality, this mentality was actually just lack. It was lack mentality, 100%. I will admit it. I see it now for what it is. I'm not, if that's your dream, if you want to live a more simple life, then that's amazing. You know what I mean? There is beauty within that. But the thing is, for me, where that was stemming from was this lack mentality and this broke mentality that I had growing up. So after being in survival mode, like pure survival mode for about a year and a half, I, as far away from any type of resource that you can imagine, I had to be hauling my own water. Our closest Walmart, our closest groceries was an hour and a half away. Like, we were living in a desert. All these things, all these resources that were around me, I just constantly felt like they were slipping away. There was lack constantly. And then not understanding the relationship with money, like I kept putting these limitations on myself and these limiting beliefs that I'm only going to receive money at this one time a month. You know what I mean? Like expecting this is the only time that money is coming to me, completely cutting myself off from any opportunity that could be presenting itself. And even if money or abundance or whatever came to me in some kind of way during that time, I was so focused on the lack that I couldn't even see the gifts that were being given to me like before my eyes, So, and my concept of myself at that time was horrendous, and it was a lot. Like, it was a lot to deal with and go through and try to navigate, to be honest, to be like trying to find the root of like what's wrong, because I just did what I quote unquote thought I wanted to do and I thought was going to bring me ultimate happiness, was living out in the middle of nowhere away from everybody, blah blah blah, being debt free, being this. And it really was not all it's chalked up to be. So again, like being in that situation, the feeling about money and just wealth and success and abundance and all these things in my life, it was just all stemming from feelings of unworthiness, undeserving. I'm not allowed to want these things. I'm not allowed to have these things. If I do, then I'm bad. Like that's essentially what I was telling myself. And one sec, what did I say here? Oh, the other biggest mental shift that I've made, but this is where I started, was believing that money is hard to make. I have to trade all of my time in order to receive money. So like, for example, if I want to have that one vacation week a year that I'm banking all year long, I'm limited. I only get 1 week vacation for the whole year, right? And that just never sat well with me. I was always like, man, that means I have to limit, like, where do I want to travel to? Where do I want to go? Like, what am I going to choose to do? And just being so worried that whole time of having all these expectations of this one single week out of the whole year. You know what I mean? So it was just very interesting to reflect back now. And yeah, like really just believing that life is meant to be hard. It's a grind just to make money. I have to spend so much time of my life in overtime to try to get that money, try to get that pay, feeling like I can never save more than like $1,000 in my bank account at a time, like and even if I did, it was like burning a hole in my pocket, you know what I mean? Like I had to get rid of it. I had to get it out. I had to just, throw it somewhere because I can't have this. Oh, it's crazy to look back at now, but like that's just the reality of where I was. And so after becoming like aware of all that and I don't know, I guess just like seeing it for what it was. Like I was so unhappy. I was in survival mode, all these things. And I finally just like cracked one day and I was like, there has to be more to life than this. There literally has to be more to life than this. I'm seeking happiness. I thought it was here. It's not. Okay. I need to shift my life, myself, my thoughts, anything. I was willing to do anything in order to get back to myself, to live the life of my dreams, to provide for my children in the way that I felt like I wanted to, right? Like, I didn't want my kids growing up in the middle of nowhere, not being socialized, feeling like they, you know, like just repeating the money wounds. I did not want to continue the cycle into my children. So we ended up, my husband and I ended up deciding, okay, we need to move. I was pregnant at the time with my third child, so it was a big decision to be like, okay, well, are we, if we're going, we gotta go now, kind of thing, right? So the plan was to basically move back to my hometown, like my childhood hometown, which is not where my husband and I, well, it's not where my husband's from. So after like going over all the process of like deciding, yeah, I'm gonna do this now because it was a big decision, long story short, we ended up getting there, and the whole time of moving, I kept just practicing these things in myself, of telling myself, you know what, just practicing, I desire luxury. I desire luxury living. Everything in my life is happening for me. I receive the best out of every situation that happens to me. I only experience the best. I started like repeating these small affirmations well, they're not small, but like these affirmations to myself that felt so fake, like lying to myself. It was just like, girl, what are you even doing? This isn't gonna work. Like, you know, the wounds were deep. So once, like, as I kept practicing my awareness to how I was speaking and thinking about money, I was starting to notice these shifts in my life, you know? Again, like, on our way across country, we ended up grabbing this hotel that was like completely sold out because there was this hockey tournament going on at the time, or lacrosse or something. There was this tournament going on, and every single town or every single hotel in this city was fully booked except this one room that was saved as an emergency room, and it was this beautiful luxury suite at this amazing hotel, and we somehow, some way got it because this lady felt bad that we had children and I was pregnant and blah blah, we're moving and all these things, but thank God we got this luxurious hotel. And for me, that was like the first bit of evidence that I was like, and I remember allowing myself, like, you need to enjoy this. Don't feel bad that you're staying in this luxurious hotel. You're exhausted traveling across country. Your life is so up in the air and unpredictable at this moment. Like, just enjoy this manifestation that you've just created, you know? And oh my gosh, it was amazing. Like, as soon as I started, like, that was like the first hint, and I was like, oh, that was like momentum to start, or to keep going. So fast forward, I ended up not staying in my hometown. I ended up coming right back to where we were when we left to move across country, so back to where me and my husband are from, and everything was just completely in the air. So I wanted to keep practicing like my relationship with money. I wanted to keep that going so that I can just continue to create the life of my dreams and keep living the life of my dreams, basically. And I remember going to the store, and like I needed a coat at the time because all my stuff was packed in a U-Haul, and I needed a coat at the time. And I remember telling myself, like, I'm not just gonna get a cheap, you know, $20 coat from Giant Tiger or something like that. That's the old me. I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm gonna hold myself to a certain standard. I'm gonna allow myself to enjoy a little bit of more luxury here. And I decided to buy this fancy coat that I've worn in my videos before, my first video actually. I bought that coat, and I remember telling myself, this is an investment in myself. Like, this is, I'm practicing. When I give out, I receive 10 times back, tenfold, right? So spending this $130, I'm about to receive $1,300. You know what I mean? Which I did, which is crazy. But that coat, I call it my millionaire coat. When I wore that coat in the beginning, imposter syndrome to the max. Like, I felt like such a phony, such a fake. I felt like, girl, what are you, like, you just came from what? Like, who are you? Right? But I persisted. I kept going. I kept wearing that coat. I kept repeating these things in my head. I kept practicing. When I wore that coat, it felt like a new costume that I was putting on, of a new identity, of my new self, that like nobody knows me. This is the brand new me. You know what I mean? So I did that, and I bought these winter boots that were also, to me at the time, considered expensive. But again, I told myself, I am investing in myself so that when I show up in the world, I am showing up as a certain version that is worthy of having these things that I'm telling myself that I desire. So I started speaking differently. I started acting differently. I started dressing differently, talking to myself. Like, I started really focusing on my self-concept. And again, continuing to heal the money wounds. So the things that I would say, and making sure the actions that I was doing, that I wasn't allowing myself to have that money burning my pocket when it was there. And every single time I spent money, I said thank you. Every time I paid a bill, every time I paid for these conveniences that I literally forced myself to not have for a year and a half, water, like free flowing water, electricity, food, like access to all these conveniences that are in a small town or a small city or whatever. I started allowing myself to enjoy these things and not feeling bad about it. And again, more things just kept blessing me, and more things kept popping up, and more abundance was flowing to me, which was encouraging me to keep going. This is working, you know what I mean? So when one second here. So yeah, I kept practicing affirmations, speaking positively about money. I started shifting my mentality of where I was in terms of money, and instead of begging money to come to me and, you know, giving everything of myself, all my time, all my energy, all my money, or all my time, all my energy, everything, in order to receive money, I stopped that and I told myself, you know what? I'm on the pedestal. I'm on the throne. Money works for me. It is easy to make money. It is easy to live the life of my dreams. I am worthy of expensive things. I am worthy of a luxurious lifestyle. And now I love to experience the finer things in life. You know, like, look at this background behind me. Like, this is completely like pure manifestation. Me coming to this exquisite little southern coast in this tiny little area right where I used to live, but like 20 minutes outside. You know, like, the me before would have looked at this and been like, oh, well, whatever. You know, looking at these mansions with these docks and stuff, I would have just been like, those people, you know, just so negative. But now I'm like, I belong in this community. This is why I was brought here. This is why the universe shook up my reality, didn't allow me to stay in this place that would have kept me in a lack mentality, and instead shifted me to this amazing, beautiful place that is so luxurious, that is so beautiful, that is a healthy environment in order for me and my relationship with money to fucking expand to the max. Like, to literally just keep ascending, keep growing, keep the flow. Like, oh, I have goosebumps right now. I love it. It is incredible what happens when you literally just change your mindset towards something. And for me, money was the biggest issue. The hardest thing to manifest is what it felt like before. You know, like, people want to talk about SPs, people want to talk about houses, cars. Like, I have manifested all of that. But when it came to like money, I was clueless. And now I'm not. But like, so I'm all excited now. If I was to help somebody, if I was to tell somebody, like, what would be step one, or the early steps, like, what did I do that helped shift my mentality, really shifted me to this place? It's one, practicing that awareness. How are you speaking about money? How do you feel when you're paying a bill? How do you feel when you're paying for groceries? Do you value yourself enough to invest in yourself? So that's more than just, are you wearing nicer clothes? Are you presenting yourself a certain way? Are you buying healthy foods that are nourishing your body and are causing you to be a reflection of health, wealth, abundance, beauty, all these things that money is like a magnet to, you know? And working on your self-concept. So making sure that you're practicing awareness, working on your self-concept, telling yourself, I am worthy, I am deserving. I don't have, just simply existing is enough for me to receive all of my wildest dreams and more. That's what I told myself. That's what I tell myself. That's what I fully fucking believe now. When I'm around people with money wounds now, like, it's not triggering, but it's just, it really makes me aware of how I used to be and how I used to think. And it's like, no friggin' wonder that is why nothing was happening, or that is why I was brought to a place that was an absolute desert with nothing, and I was living in survival mode. When I shifted my reality, when I shifted my mentality, my reality shifted as well. So I'm just saying, you can do it. If, like I said, if I can do it, you can do it. Literally, it's incredible. So I'll just finish off with like where I'm at now, because I'm very excited to see how life keeps unfolding for me. And like I said in my last video, I already know I'm living my best life. I already know that I am living my ultimate dream best life and better right now, because that is the version that I am choosing. I'm so excited. But so now, like, because my husband and I have successfully healed our money wounds, he's gotten into the stock market. He's gotten into investing and using money as a tool and making money literally work for us instead of the other way around. Like, it's amazing. And just to kind of finish off, I'm so excited because during this whole like transitionary time of my life of like having a house out in a different province, 40 hours away, the process of selling that, the process of finding a new house now, blah, blah, blah. We have now successfully just purchased our first rental home. So we'll be living in it, fixing it up, getting it all ready, whatever, with the intention of renting it out. And we will be and we are already in the real estate game, in the stock markets, making our money work for us. I'm writing a book right now because I'm so pumped. Because I now have this unshakable belief in myself that I am capable of anything. And writing something like a book about my story is just another stream. It's just another stream that money wants to come to me. You know what I mean? So anyways, I'm super excited right now. I'm gonna go work on my book in a little cafe, continuing to live my dream life. I'm so excited to see how life keeps unfolding. I have goosebumps again. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon.